You are watching the Deadfoot Diver Podcast with Kurt, the Deadfoot Diver.
Welcome to the Deadfoot Diver Podcast, where we talk about everything diving, technical diving, and the benefits of diving with disabilities. I am super excited today, and yes, I have a NASCAR hat on for a reason. I decided to pull out my old NASCAR official hat because I am so excited to have NASCAR Cup driver Brendan Gaughan on. How's it going?
Retired and former. Let's not go too far here. I'm happily retired, but I appreciate it. I'm honored to be on Deadfoot Divers, and like I was telling you off air, I nobody really cares to hear much from me anymore. But when it comes to diving, that's one of the subjects I love to still talk about. So thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. I'm very glad that you came on. I was actually shocked to hear that you were a dive master.
Yeah, I got my dive master, probably a little over 10 years ago now, with Lake Norman Scuba out in North Carolina, where they ended up being some of my best friends. They still are some of my best friends. And basically, when I was a race car driver, I go to the shop. I kind of slow production at the shop. You go to the shop to work out. You do all the stuff, but there's a lot of time. And so I love hanging at the dive shop. Diving changed my entire life when I started diving in 2007. And so I got lucky to find Lake Norman Scuba in North Carolina, walked in, and Andrew and Danielle, the owners, have become two of my best friends. And so I was like, well, hell, I love it. I'll do it every day. I got lots of free time. So I was the dive master when they had kids camps or you had to do all these things. I was the guy that was like, I'll do it, and I'm free help. So I'm good help.
And even better, you're a former NASCAR guy that the guys are like, oh my God, he's our dive master for today.
I was current.
Yeah,
then.
well, yeah.
So it was fun because I do these classes, and a lot of the mechanics kids would be in the classes, and they go, their moms would show up to pick them up, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "This is what I do for fun." It was a fun time of my life, and I do miss it. I had hand in helping certify probably over 1,000+ kids with Lake Norman Scuba. It was one of my favorite things. It was one of my favorite things in life to do. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed just doing the kids camps and being there certifying those kids and being part of that group. Andrew Katsamis, who is the owner, is one of my best friends. In my opinion, of course, I have one just like everybody else. He's one of the best instructors you can ever ask for. And so it was a lot of fun. He taught me. I have a personality that really lends myself to some of that stuff, and he loved it. I mean, the thing for me was, Curtis, my best deal was if you had someone that was slowing down a class or had a problem that was struggling with something. And look, you and I both know, taking your mask off is the biggest struggle for, 80% of the problems that show up, it's going to be that mask. And I used to take the ones that were scared, that were worried, that didn't think they'd keep going. Andrew'd look at me and give me the nod. I'd go back to the 5-foot deep pool, the 4-foot deep pool. I put the kids, and you'd come back into the other room and we'd be ahead of the class. I love taking the ones that struggled a little bit and get to watch even a grown person, not just a kid, to watch someone overcome that irrational fear of what diving is, and then turn it into the rational, really what happens when you dive. It's really fun to watch. It's as much fun to me as driving into Turn 1 at Bristol.
Oh yeah. Diving's amazing. It is, for me, I used to be a professional diver and instructor and stuff. I even worked for Mel Fisher for a bit back in the 90s doing treasure diving.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I've actually reconnected with Kane over the last year. So he's going to be coming on and doing an interview with me. I got back into it 2 years ago after I became disabled, actually motocross racing. So
you guys in the bikes. Do you see? Hey, do you see? I want you to look at your beard real quick. I want you to see this, right? I got it right here. You see that color? You see when stuff gets that color, That's when it's time to stop being on a motorcycle. That color right there. That. Even before it goes that.
Yeah, I know. I got into racing. I got into racing motocross actually, and got into like crewing stock car racing, and then being an official in stock car racing, and then getting into racing motocross. And I did that basically to fill the void of my loss from diving.
Okay. Well, but you can still dive. You can make it. We can get
it. Now I can. Yeah, I started diving again last year actually, and it has definitely changed my life for the better. It has been unbelievable, the change in me. And I mean, right the minute from when I took my first breath underwater again. And it was all because I was actually on a dive charter in a Cozumel doing snorkeling. And there was a lady that came on the boat with me, and they sat her right beside me. And we actually became friends for the week. And she was so bad. She was in a walker. She couldn't even barely walk. The whole time I was watching her, and I'm like, oh, there's no reason I can't do that again.
Well, and see that, but that, and you understand this as a diver is one, the amazing dive community, right? I mean, how well, when you go on these dive boats, it does, when you're a week on a dive boat with people, you can go alone and make friends on a dive boat. That was something to me. I mean, I can make friends, with a stranger, outside my window, but it's just, I love that community. But then when you do learn that, just because you've had something, whether it's, I've been in the water with people that were paraplegics, waist down. I've been in the water where they have the special gloves that are their fins. I've been in the water with all sorts, and it's amazing. And you remember that first time you took a breath underwater and went, before you were injured, you went, oh my God, I'm that guy. I was skydiving, I was doing all these other things, and I was racing. I mean, I'm that guy. And the first time I took a breath underwater in 2007, I went, oh my God. When I say it changed my life, I'm not exaggerating. It changed everything I wanted to do with any time outside of my family or my work. And I made diving my life for a little bit, even where it's that big a deal to me. I've taken all my nieces and nephews when they turned 12 with me to Roatan or other places in the world, to Socorro. I took 12-year-olds to Socorro. I took my kids when they were 10. They all got certified at Lake Norman Scuba. I've certified their friends. To me, that whole first breath thing, and it had to be pretty awesome. You just said it there. Your first breath after you came back, it gave you all those emotions again, and you're like,
oh
I
yeah,
can do this.
It was instant. I mean, it was as soon as I got underwater, took my first breath again, I was like, oh my God. And the guy's like, before he went under, he's like, okay, we're going to do like mask clears and all that, and then do a tour around the pool, whatever. Okay, fine. And he knew my diving background, but I told him, I said, look, I haven't dove in like 27 years, right? So it's been quite a while. And I mean, I got under, I took my first breath, and I mean, it was like, oh my God, I was free. And we just scooted around the pool, and he said, when's your flight leaving? And I said, unfortunately, tomorrow. And he says, I would have signed you out to go diving this afternoon if you wanted. I was so disappointed because I didn't actually get to do my first like open water dive again until like 6 months later, right? Because of the weather up
here. Terrible. I know that you're like, no, but I mean, isn't that amazing? And mobility scooters now underwater. I tore my Achilles earlier this year in February. I'm that guy. I'm an idiot. I didn't even know. I kept digging. I didn't find out till April. And so I'm just kind of dumb that way. Well, we had a tech dive planned this year with Lake Norman Scuba and a bunch of our friends. It's my 50th birthday this year, and Andrew and Danielle, we had this big tech dive planned, and they were teaching a class, and they needed a dive master to hit the standards, and finding a dive master that's legal for tech diving also is a little more difficult. So he was like, can you tell me you can come, and will you be there? I said, absolutely. Well, the tech dive was like April 25th, and I found out I tore my Achilles April 15th. And I went, and I tore it in February, so I've just been living with it. So I looked and I go, dang it. I go, it's going to be a little hard to kick because they wanted me to, they had me in some braces that were immobile. And I go, Andrew and I both said, "Well, bring you one of the scooters." So I just had one of the scooters. I was dive master in a class with just a scooter, so I didn't have to kick with my left leg. It's amazing that how technology has made it even more accessible to everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, especially you've worked with paraplegics and stuff like that, which is awesome. I'm hoping to be able to afford to redo my instructors next year. And that's actually what I want to concentrate on, is working with people doing scuba therapy in the pool a lot. And then working with mainly with people with disabilities and stuff, because a lot of instructors do not want to or do not have the patience.
Well, you're scared. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You're nervous. Even though scuba diving, we learn to control some of our fears and to control your. But it's always upset. I have a very good friend that is a cerebral palsy. He's had it. Known him since he was 8 years old. He's 35 now. Young little fans of mine from Wisconsin, and I love these two kids to death. And I would love to put him in a snuba helmet and let somebody take him down in a snuba helmet. Just like you said, just even in a pool, just the therapy of that in the pool. And it would be such an amazing feeling to be able to do something like that with those people. So it takes a certain instructor and a certain person that wants to do it. But man, I think it's such a great thing. And you talk to any psychologist, those sorts of things for someone, for people with those ailments, it can be an amazing, life-changing, freeing deal. And it's great that I love that you're going to try to do it and focus on that. I think that's super cool.
That is my main goal of what I want to do, especially after how much it's changed my life getting back into it again. And I mean, the worst part for me is getting all my crap on and getting in the water. Even that I'm okay.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care if everything's functioning. There's some people, they hate that. Me, I pitch it in the water and do it in the water. It's a whole lot easier.
I actually started diving side mount this summer. I got side mount certified in June, and that has dramatically changed my life. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. When I walk on a boat with a single tank, I have to have one or two guys holding on to me to keep me stable to walk to the back of the boat. Side mount, I just get up with both tanks on, hold on to the captain's arm, and I can walk back. I'm like good to go.
That's a great way to adapt to the issues you have. Adaptability is what you do.